They target any cartoons that are drawn about them. They target any reverse literature against them, and they're being plus strong religion. They're their largest religion in the world, and they are mirrored, despite what they'd like to believe. They are mirrored almost down to a T by Christianity, by a self-proclaimed son of Allah, son of God.
And Winter, your book is also, you give a lot of spell works for different reasons, rituals. What I find interesting is, unlike other occultists, location is paramount for this work to be successful. Why is location so important, especially when you're telling people to travel to Russia? It seems Russia is a big place of energy.
Absolutely. Where people and spellcasting are lost, no, you cannot stand in a back alley and proclaim the forces to come to you. It's just not relevant. You know, you can't be in your backyard wearing a cloak while your neighbor is having a cookout. Okay, it just doesn't work. And I see people doing it. And I see even all kinds of zany things that it becomes more entertainment. It becomes more self-masturbation. Location, location, location. It is everything to do with it. Once you undertake the effort, for example, to go outside of St. Petersburg in Russia, you know you're going to get serious. There is a church there that is made of bones from the death of the Black Plague. You know it's going to get serious. If you go to Germany or Poland, and for example, and utilize the forces of, and not to really get into a Nazification of anything, the forces of Auschwitz, and you conduct some Hackenkreuz ritual there, you are going to have major empirical results. And that is really what that has to do with. There are ritual chambers and personal houses, and that is tried and true, and that works in that self-energy. But you know, that energy dwindles, and the effects over time are not as strong. You can cast that spell initially and project initially, but you will not have the same powerful results. And a lot of, practicing magicians, black, white witches, and so on, they ask themselves this question too, and I know they ask themselves unconsciously. Why isn't my spell that is supposedly tried and true that I have done over and over again working for me? It's not working for you because that location where you're getting it is tired. It is spent. The energy is gone. You are being drained, not being projected. And so that is why I have made location very important in the book, and those efforts to undertake those locations, if they are, there are relative trade-offs to it. For example, in the book there is the Sephiroth of Set, which is a ritual which ideally would be done near Karnak in Egypt. It would be amazing. The power is there. The energy is focused. The people that travel there to spend the money to be there are going to be on. Now, you can trade that same thing off for a desert location anywhere. It's still going to do it. But to do the Sephiroth of Set in Idaho in a cornfield, I mean, is it relevant? Is it going to happen? You're going to have a car driving by, and you're going to be trying to summon certain entities, and you're going to need landscapes and so on and so on. But anything is possible. Anything is relative. I mean, it's just a matter of the efforts and not to have the drained location.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I mean, that's why Crowley went to the deserts of Egypt to do his stuff.
Absolutely. Crowley avidly traveled, and he had that right on the mark. He traveled everywhere to keep himself rejuvenated, to revealing Gaia energy. He kept his results really inspirational. Also, there's a double-edged sword to that because you can burn yourself out, destroy yourself. But Crowley was an exceptional individual who was able to really burn hard and long and true and create a vast body of work, very ahead of his time. But he had some shortfalls too. But that is the ideal thing. Doing and conducting the ritual, for example, of H.P. Lovecraft's The Stars Are Right on a mountaintop while there is a lunar eclipse, and you have focused groups there, as many as 50, you know you're going to have a result if they're all on. And you know what? They don't even really have to be on. Even if you have a fraction of that, there will be something. And that is what's the part of the Satanic Paradigm that I wanted to key in.
Back to Crowley, you mentioned even though Crowley, you write that Crowley would deny it himself, but you say that Crowley was a Satanist. Why do you say that?
People deny themselves. There are self-loathing homosexuals and self-loathing asexuals. They're self-loathing anything. And it doesn't matter if it's sexual proclivity or whatever. And there are also people that practice an art that they deny. And Crowley was one of them. Crowley was adamantly wanting to say, my mind's expanded. I have reached the light and I have reached the dark. He needs to realize, or at least from what I have taken from the majority of his work, it all leaned really dark. And it's very Luciferian, very self-indulgent, very indulged as well into the material realm. A lot of his statements completely contradict everything he ever talks about in regards to wanting to achieve Tetragrammaton, the holy guardian angel, and so on and so on. In reality, he wants evil. He wanted evil. He wanted, in his own words, he wanted anything bad or good, just strong. He wanted power, and it was satanic power. Even though he felt he was drawing from everything, he was really drawing from the dark power, from the entity of Luciferian Satan. The Abramelin ritual, which was a key ritual in Crowley's life, which he undertook partially until he got bored of it or was called away to help him and Mathers and some problems he was having, which he shouldn't have left it done. He shouldn't have done that because the Abramelin ritual is all about satanic incurrences. It has nothing to do with white light or power, good, or any of that. It has everything to do with summoning devils to do your bidding, to aspire to a higher satanic consciousness, and to actually come in contact with Lucifer, with an angel of power that will intuit to you a secret energy. And that could be anything. In fact, in a sense, if you ever survive the Abramelin ritual. This is just one example of Crowley Satanism, because the Abramelin ritual is all satanic energy. It is all Goetia. It is everything to do with summoning the devil. And he was in self-denial over it. And I think throughout his life he was in self-denial over it. And that's fine. It worked for him. And a lot of people question that. Is it really relevant? Probably not. I mean, Crowley is a very interesting, individual. But myself, personally, I think he was a preeminent Satanist. I think he borrowed precepts, for example, do what thou wilt is the whole of the law, from his treatise, the Book of the Law, which was established in 1904 while he was in Egypt, in Cairo, was a borrowed statement. That statement was utilized by the Satanic Coven of the Hellfire Club. To enter into their soirees, they would say something very similar to it, like, do what thou wilt is the law. That is how you got in to their group, to worship Satan and to have sex with men or women and to do any kind of orgiastic experience you could ever want. Serpentius Dashwood was not a nice person. He would light cats on fire. He would involve women. He would shave their heads. He was not a nice person. He was a Satanist. He was self-proclaimed. There's a lot of secrecy about the Hellfire Club, what they did. I actually have some of that information that's going to be gleaned later about some of these activities that this group did. And Crowley revered them. Crowley revered this group. He revered anything that was to do with Satan.
And another very interesting about your book is you say, and I know a lot of people or a certain religion won't like this, but isn't it true that Gerald Gardner, the founder of Wicca, was influenced by Satanism?
Absolutely. I mean, modern witchcraft owes a lot to Crowley, who actually did write the Book of Shadows for Gardner. He was a practitioner of occult arts.